Okay, welcome everyone. Welcome to our ongoing series of webinars from the National Veterans Technical Assistance Center. This one is about the connections between HVRP and apprenticeships, and I'll talk a little bit about the topic. I want to talk just very briefly about the center. Most of you out there, HVRP grantees, know about the center, but if you're a new grantee or if you're a new staff member, NVTAC is the National Veterans Technical Assistance Center. We're a cooperative between Advocates for Human Potential and National Coalition for Homeless Veterans. We're chartered by Dole Vets, Department of Labor, Veterans Employment Training, same folks that fund HVRP, fund us to provide technical assistance. What does that mean? It can mean a lot of things. We do troubleshooting and grant checkup. We help with very specific issues. We do trainings and webinars like the very one that we're on right now. We also do learning collaboratives and all kinds of other stuff. So if you're in need of help, if you just have a simple question or maybe you have a very complicated issue, the whole gamut, reach out to us. We've got a website, nvtac.org. It's a great website. There's all kinds of tools and stuff. We update it all the time. So today we're going to talk about the connections between HVRP and apprenticeships. And I'm Ian Listman. I'm with the National Veterans Technical Assistance Center with Advocates for Human Potential. I'm a former program manager of an HVRP, so I've been in the shoes of many of the people on this call and many people listening in on this webinar. So I feel your pain. Apprenticeships are tricky and challenging sometimes. On-the-job training combines with classroom training to, and the supervision element to create a kind of journeyman level or entry-level craft and high-skilled labor. So apprenticeships is one of those things that grantees struggle with for a variety of reasons. Sometimes there's not as many of them out there. Sometimes our clients may not meet the requisites for apprenticeships and a lot of other reasons. A lot of times it's just simply because we're so busy doing other things, and apprenticeships do take a little bit of special effort and a little bit of extra work. So we're going to talk about how to make them successful, what you can kind of do to get them going, how you can develop a good collaboration with apprenticeship programs that may be out there, up to including starting up a new apprenticeship program with employers that are interested in doing that. So we've got the Houston launch pad on the call with us today. That's Prentice Goods. We also have Ruth Foster Chang. She's with the Strategis LLC. They're out of Honolulu, Hawaii, bit jealous. And like I said, the Houston launch pad, obviously Houston, Texas. And then we also have John Rio on the phone. He directs the NVTAC for the AHP side of the operation, with Advocates for Human Potential. He's very well known in the field, so if you don't know John, he's a good person to know, very knowledgeable. So with that, we also have Cindy Borden on the line. She's with National Coalition for Homeless Veterans, and she's handling the technical elements of this call. So she's going to go over some just logistics, how you guys can ask questions, and we're going to have a little informal poll and things like that, and she'll tell you how to participate.
Thank you, Ian, and welcome, everyone. Just a couple minutes to tell you about the logistics for today's call. We have muted your phone lines, and that's to avoid things like hearing people's offices. If you sometimes people are multitasking and people have to put us on hold or they're in their office. So we have muted everyone's phone lines except for our speakers and presenters for today. If you have a question or if you need any kind of assistance, if you look to the right of your screen, you'll see a taskbar there, and there's a little bubble that looks like a dialog box. If you click that bubble, that is the chat function, and you can actually send questions to the presenters or to me for technical issues through that chat function. I will be collecting all of those questions, and at the end of the webinar, we're going to save about 10 minutes or so to get through as many of the questions as we can. If there are any that we are not able to get through, what we'll do is we'll forward those questions to the speakers, and we'll send responses to those folks who asked those questions. At the conclusion of the webinar, we will be sending out a short survey. It's about 5 or 6 questions, just to get your feedback on how helpful the webinar was, if there are other topics, those sorts of things. So please take a few minutes to respond to that survey. And then the entire webinar, which is being recorded, will be posted on our website in the next day or two. I hope to have it done by the end of tomorrow, but it may be Monday. But it will be up on our website, and we will, in the survey, send a link to where you can find the entire webinar, the recording of it, and also if you're just interested in having the slides in a PDF version of the slides, that will be there as well. So all of those things will be coming to you at the conclusion of today's webinar. Again, if you have any questions, please use that chat function, and we will collect those and answer those as much as we can at the end. And with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Ian.
Thank you, Cindy. So I think we're just going to kind of get right into it. And John, do you want to kind of just get us going here and start talking about the different types of connections we have?
Sure, Ian and Cindy, thanks a lot for the introductions, opening it up, and getting our logistics down. Hi, everybody. John Rio here with NVTAC. Welcome to today's conversation. And for the next 50 or so minutes, we'll be trying to take a closer examination of the issues around HVRPs connecting with apprenticeships. Everybody, I am sure, when you wrote your HVRP application, you did your due diligence and mentioned that, oh, yes, of course, we will work with apprenticeships, and we will try to do so whenever we can. And if you were new at the time of that application and you started implementing your program, you no doubt found that it's not as easy as it might have seemed to hook up with an apprenticeship and to make that relationship work for the veterans that are enrolled in your HVRP. And some of you may have experience in trying to build a connection with an apprenticeship. Others may be contemplating and may be ready to dip your toe in the water. I don't know, but we would like to know. So there really are 3 kinds of or types of connections with apprenticeships. And the first is one that perhaps many of you are familiar with or do, and that's a simple referral. Finding an apprenticeship that meets the needs of one of your veterans and making the connection on behalf of that one veteran to hook him up with an apprenticeship, whether it's in the construction industry or IT or healthcare or whatever that industry is. And you should know that there are many industries that are using an earn and learn approach and apprenticeships. But the simplest one is when we are making a referral of a veteran from HVRP to an apprenticeship. The next level, if you will, or type of connection, we'll stay on this slide for a minute, is establishing a kind of partnership or collaboration where you've visited that apprenticeship or where you know the sponsoring organization, whether it's a union or not, or that you know the person and have a key contact that you work collaboratively with, and and more than likely you were doing so because you're interested in referring more than just one veteran. You're trying to develop a partnership to serve a number of veterans in that apprenticeship. And the third type is more further along in terms of the connection to an apprenticeship. It's actually when the apprenticeship is integrated in the HVRP agency. So today on our call, we have examples of the latter two approaches, and we're going to delve into that with them in just a few minutes. But for everybody who is on the line, if you could get ready to use your chat box. I have a question for you. Is there anybody who's listening in today who has one of these three types of connections with apprenticeships? Do you have a referral mechanism that you just do from time to time, or do you have a partnership where there is an ongoing relationship and you've referred or hooked up more than one veteran, maybe 3 to 7 or 8 veterans? Or have you started an integrated approach where your agency is actually sponsoring the apprenticeship? So give me a shout out in the box. Let us know. Yes, you have a connection, or nope, you don't have a connection. We'd just like to get a little poll and sense of what some of our HVRPs are up to vis-a-vis apprenticeships. So please take a second right now and type in the chat box whether or not you have one of these kinds of connections with an apprenticeship. And if you don't have one of those, I'd also like you to type into the chat box also, letting us know if you are interested in doing that. That is, I don't have one of these types of connections right now. I've been thinking about it, but I'd like to do it, and maybe I might need some help, or maybe I could talk with somebody who has done it or who could help me do it. So let us know. Write those in the chat box as we speak, and we'll check in with you, and we'll check in with Cindy in just a minute to see what we got in the way of any responses. Next slide, Cindy. So I'm sure that you all have a sense of what apprenticeships are and the purpose and why we do them, and that it is clearly a combination of skill building that's done both in the classroom and on the job. And apprenticeships can be for any length of time. Some of them are equivalent to a junior college or a 4-year college kind of program where it does take 2 or 4 years. But there's also opportunities to link to an apprenticeship that's shorter, or to integrate one that better matches our veteran population and design a shorter term. For all of you, I'm sure you're aware that our colleagues at the Department of Labor have done a lot to advance apprenticeships as a job-driven or employer-driven strategy for high-growth jobs and demand jobs in our communities. Certainly you should be familiar with this website, and I should also tell you that there is a toolkit for apprenticeships, and part of that toolkit is a series of online modules that can teach you and provide you some basic information about registered apprenticeships. And I advise that you really, if you're considering this, check out the website. If you are already doing it, some of your staff may want to refresh their knowledge and skills and take a look at this website on apprenticeships. And if you really are contemplating apprenticeships, this is a go-to website for you. Cindy, can I check in with you? Did we get any chatter in the chat box?
Yes, we did, Joe. And our grantees out in Silicon Valley, Goodwill of Silicon Valley, actually said they have a couple different ones that they're working with. One is the local, the head hats to, I'm going to mess that up, John. You know the one I mean? Hard hats to helmets, helmets to hard hats.
You're close. Helmets to hard hats.
Helmets
right.
to hard hats.
H2H.
Yes. I'm switching that around today. So they have a partnership with that. We also had, one of them has an apprenticeship that they're working with the elevator union in the San Francisco area. We have quite a few folks who are interested but don't have anything going on quite yet. We also have heard from some of our folks at the American Job Center, some of the DBOPs who have a referral process but would like to get that referral process a little bit more streamlined, more official, and more efficient. We also are hearing from folks out in Spokane, Washington, which have a partnership with their WorkSource with something called Skilled Trades Preparation, which goes through the Washington State Apprenticeship Training Council. So that looks like that's something that's just going to be starting up early next year. So a few folks who are doing it, lots of folks who want more information and want to do more.
Well, that's great to hear, and thanks everybody for responding in the chat box. What we'll do, and Cindy, is if we can extract that information from the chat box so we have people's names and an email for them, we'll follow up with a contact to them and see how we can be of assistance or provide some additional information and follow up on their apprenticeships program. And if they're operating one, like you folks in Goodwill, we'd love to reach out to you to better understand what you're doing. And we're always interested in telling your story, grantees. We're interested in where you're having successes. We want to talk to you so we can write about it and share it with other grantees across the country to advance the kinds of good works you're doing. So we'll be in touch with you then. I appreciate that, and I assume that's doable, Cindy, for us to get those
Yes,
contacts.
it is.
Super. So let's go on to the next slide and delve deeper into this. You know, one of the features, or there are a number of features in an apprenticeship that you don't get with other kinds of training, and you don't get always with OJT alone. And these bullets here are some of the things that put apprenticeships ahead of other training approaches. And Lord knows there's enough apprenticeships around, and obviously you all know that your communities provide or you will see apprenticeships from time to time. They're available, and sometimes they're not available. There may be over 50,000 apprenticeship and trainee jobs across the country, but they're not all available or open today to sign up, and there are a lot of issues in their availability and accessibility. So we know that it's so the message is that an apprenticeship is a good thing. The issue is that they often present challenges for us to hook up with them and to make them work for our homeless veterans, many of whom have personal challenges. Next slide. So when we're talking about those challenges and what we've heard from across the country, and y'all can use your chat box to tell us, too, what kind of challenges have you seen when you've tried to connect with an apprenticeship, or what kinds of challenges did you have to work through when you were going to make referrals or a deeper collaboration with an apprenticeship? We've found that sometimes, finding veterans who are motivated or who are up for the kind of challenges that an apprenticeship means for an individual. That means being in a trainee role. That means having to be there at certain hours. That means being a good learner and being and reflecting motivation, enthusiasm, and part of that may be being clean and sober in order to pass a drug screen with an apprenticeships, which is not uncommon, not an uncommon issue or hurdle. Oftentimes, the apprenticeship itself presents issues for our veterans. Sometimes it's the kind of apprenticeship that may have more physical demands, and the bodies of our older veterans may not be able to perform to those expectations, and may have some physical issues to deal with in trying to take advantage of an apprenticeship. Obviously, many of you have transportation challenges, but that's not unique to apprenticeships. We have transportation challenges in our job placement work as well. Sometimes there are the apprenticeship expects their applicants to have a driver's license or some kind of an educational credential, and those could be barriers for our veterans. Even sometimes just the duration or the length of time that the apprenticeship goes on can be daunting and can be a turnoff to our veterans, and it's hard to keep them motivated to want to sign up for an apprenticeship and then to adhere to it. Apprenticeships, not unlike a regular employment, we're not only concerned around the work of getting the veteran engaged and on the job, but it's about retention in the apprenticeship. That becomes can become a challenge or an issue. Next slide. So what we're going to do now is shifting gears to move away from my comments to have Ruth step on the stage here to talk a little bit about what's going on in Hawaii and the HVRP program on Oahu. Aloha, Ruth. Welcome. Why don't you take over?
Aloha. I am so excited to talk about the subject of the Hawaii Laborers Union apprenticeship program. And I just first want to say how to get started is you have to put yourself out there. Whenever you go to stand downs and you see there's a number of employers there, take some business cards and go one by one. I find that employers are much more susceptible to you when they're in this environment because they're there to hire veterans. And that's what I did in order to get a relationship built as far as in the construction industry. I went up to approached employer, and they were there for looking for veterans to hire. And just so happened, the person who was there was one of those that sits on the board of the Hawaii Laborers Union. So with that connection, we started to work together in getting our veterans into the program. And he also was able to have the boards, they voted and agreed that for every class that's provided and given and taught during the year, they would make available 5 slots for veterans. So there was no wait line. And having the director of the training be a veteran himself made it a whole lot easier because he called, when they would call in for their need of having laborers, they would give us a week notice so that our veterans can come in before the mad rush and get all of their paperwork and everything in order, and then they would be able to come in with the rest of the group. So this made it a whole lot easier for our veterans. He also, the director of the training program, made a video to qualify veterans and not we just referred them, but he also made a video prior to that. So when we're working with our veterans at our office, we're going through the motion as to what is their interest, what they would like to go into. We show them the video, and it shows the different stations that they would be doing. Next slide, please. So as you can see here, the Hawaii Laborers Apprenticeship Program teaches our veterans valuable skills. Some of our veterans have gone into, maybe in their service, have done some type of construction work, and they will be able to use it to the best of their knowledge, but also get training from supervisors on site of the apprenticeship program. In order to qualify for the apprenticeship program, they have to first be able to complete the boot camp. The boot camp is a week-long event, and it is not a paid position. After they've completed that, then they're able to move on to being assigned to various workers, various construction companies. So as you can see from the slide, the skills that they'll learn is construction, concrete placement, pipe laying, backfilling, trenching and shoring, scaffold building, form stripping, mason work, safety training, and also much more. So next slide. The requirements are simple. They have to be 18 years of age, have a high school diploma or a GED, and proof that they've completed a 10th grade education. But for our veterans, they also need to have their copy of their DD-214. They need to have a valid driver's license and complete the pre-construction apprenticeship evaluation course, which is the boot camp. It's a 2-year program and 4,000 hours of required on-the-job training. There's a minimum of 145 hours per year classroom instruction. At this class, they are given a number of opportunities to learn other skills, basic math, also first aid, and it helps our veterans in getting them situated in a schedule of coming to work at a certain time, being present and engaged in what they're doing. I've gone onto the site, the training site, about 3 times now, just to kind of let our veterans know we're here for them, giving them support. Part of our program with Power Up is we do provide not only job placement, but we also work with HUD-BASH and other organizations to help them get a job, get a housing, because we know how difficult it is for our veterans who are living on the streets or in shelters for them, and they're unable to get their clothes clean, their uniforms, making sure that they're ready to leave for work and have that schedule. So by working with all of these other organizations, it makes our program even stronger because we're able to provide that package deal. Some of the obstacles that we have is a driver's license. And the last couple of stand-downs, I've been able to work with Mo's Heroes, and we've been able to assist our veterans to have a vehicle so that they're able to take the test, the driver's test. We're able to provide them with the book so that they can take their permit test and then go right into getting their driver's test and learning how to get their driver's license so they can qualify. And secondly, it's about helping our veterans to understand the need. Well, actually, some of the benefits that comes out from the veterans is that they are naturally hard workers. They listen to instructions. They have one of our veterans had such great skill in carpentry that he was promoted to the Carpenters Union. And so from there, they paved the way for other veterans that come in with other skills that they're able to be used and placed with large construction companies. Through our program, we've been able to place about 8 veterans in a classroom of about 35 per class. There is, as it goes, the boot camp, usually they kind of boot out a lot of people that aren't physically able, are not committed to the program. First off, they do a drug screen test. Once you pass that, you do a variety of stations, and that's hard work. In one typical day, they're not going to be doing all of that kind of stations, but it just gives the veteran an idea as to what is going to come. They start off slower, so you might be directing traffic in the beginning, and they build their responsibilities. All 8 of our veterans have successfully stayed in the program and are still working their way, and many of them have already gone to their 3rd and 4th tier. I'm excited because when we first started the program, they were making $16.65 an hour. But in the beginning of the year, this year, we had about 13 cranes. Now we have almost 20 cranes that are just in the downtown area. And the increase of pay for our veterans has gone up 53 cents. So now when you first sign up, after you've completed the boot camp and you're assigned with a contractor, you now make $17.18 an hour. After completing 1,000 hours of work, it's $20.61 an hour. Another 1,000 hours, $24.05. Another 1,000 hours of work, $27.48. So the pay schedule is there for them. And I'd like to point out that many of our veterans that we have placed were not 20s and 30s. They were more like in their 50s, their 40s, 50s, and we even had 60-year-olds. I had two that had gone in and beat out 18, 19, 20, 35-year-olds to land his position in the apprenticeship program. So we're very happy with that, and we're continuing to work and find other apprenticeship programs, one of which is, if you notice on a lot of your applications when you work with your veterans, some of their qualities are forklift drivers. Here in Hawaii, they have to be certified. So I'm trying to work with the certification to see if there's any there. It's a short program. It's about 8 hours. So we're trying to work with them, find ways in which we can pay for their program, and also CDL licensed driver. That is a very expensive type of license to get, but it's something here in Hawaii that's very valuable to have. So there's an employer called Inoa Trolley. They pay our veterans about $10 an hour, but they help them get their CDL license. So that's another route that we've been going to in helping our veterans acquire that goal that they have. But so far, so good. We have been able to keep our veterans employed in this program. Some of the challenges that we've had, as I mentioned, is a driver's license, but also physical disabilities does not enable our veterans to apply. But we keep going and keep looking for other opportunities. So make yourself available. Take advantage of your stand down by meeting the employers that are there, building that relationship with them, because you never know, one veteran, one employer might be that person that sits on that particular board or has contact with the people that are in the apprenticeship program that you want to get on. Thank you.
So thank you, Ruth, for the overview of your program. That's terrific. And Ruth has already mentioned some of the results that they have. And in some ways, I should say that both of these program examples are a year or younger. Is that right, Ruth? You've been doing this for maybe just over a year, maybe slightly.
Right, about a little over, I would say about a year and a half.
Yeah. And then Apprentice will tell you about his program. So welcome aboard, Apprentice. Why don't you jump right in?
Okay, welcome. My name is Prentice Goods, and I'm the program director of the Houston Launchpad. We're located in Houston, Texas. And we have an apprenticeship program that is currently going into our third month. And what we did to kind of come up with, what we were looking for was a way to help veterans with criminal history to bridge the gap between employment and self-sufficiency. And we have had the HVRP program on and off over 5 years, and we just couldn't find a good apprenticeship program that would fit the time frame for us to actively engage a veteran and see the process from beginning to end. So what I did is, since I've done job development in the Houston area for years, is reached out to some of my contacts, which were people that were in the construction field. And so I reached out to them, and we came up with some dialogue. We met and we, had some advisory meetings, and we came up with some ways to kind of come up with a win-win for everybody. And so I was also approached through the Department of Labor to start an apprenticeship program in this area, and they awarded us a certificate as a registered part of the National Apprenticeship System in accordance with the basic standards of apprenticeship established by the Secretary of Labor. So what we did is we took our time and we gave some meetings and met with the employers and asked for a wish list of what it would take for you to hire people. And because all of them had a high turnover ratio, we came up with some good, ways to kind of make everything a win-win for not only the veteran but for their bottom line, their turnover ratio. And so we went out. We have an outreach person through our HVRP program, and we went out and reached out to men and women who were veterans, and we told them about our apprenticeship program. And it's a 2,000-hour program with training and on-the-job learning. You got 144 hours worth of classroom training, and what we did was came up with a way to do the classroom training, a lot of it before they even show up on the job. It's kind of like a apprenticeship in training. And so after that, next, we started the class and we did an orientation. And then we, during the orientation, we talked about what was expected of the people that entered into the program, that it's a 2-year commitment, and that, you had to be serious about this program in order for it to be successful. We also touched on, catchphrases like Americans rebuilding America, to kind of take a sense of pride in what our program represented. And also, we wanted the veterans to understand that we had connections with these employers, and that once they did enter into our apprenticeship program, they would be working practically around the 5th week. And so some of the things that we touched on is, as far as the curriculum was, safety and hazard recognition. We talked about evaluated work and fall protection. We cover construction math and how to measure, to do measurements, because that's real important out on the construction site. We go over hand and power tools. We also cover construction drawings. We do basic communication skills, because they have some, construction sites have their own communication, a way of communicating. So we wanted our apprentices to show up with a general knowledge of what certain tools are called and what certain heavy equipment pieces are called, and just have a basic knowledge on of some schools tools, because when I was growing up, we use kind of like slang names like a monkey wrench, and we don't know what that, on a construction job, some people might not know what that is. So just the proper language and communication on how to level dirt and use a leveler, also how to inspect and grease a backhoe. We invested in a backhoe maybe over a year ago, and we just wanted our apprenticeships to also be comfortable working around heavy equipment. And we preach safety, safety, safety. We also have a part of our program where they work on current projects that we have lined up through certain individuals, where we go out and we might take on small jobs, and as well as our instructor. He has his own construction company in the Houston area. He also has 30 years of construction of a construction background. So he might have a job out on a location where he'll take them out, for instance, to do a patch of street where they had a busted water main and they had to go out and repair it. So these guys are pouring concrete and all of that, basically on hands training before they show up to the employer. And what we do is we let the employer know on a weekly basis what type of project the trainees are working on, so they will know that these people are meeting some of the needs, the pre-requirement needs to be hired. And as well, we have them work outdoors, so they'll be kind of familiar with the climate. We have them wear their hard hat, safety glasses, back braces, safety vests, and steel toes, while they're in class. So they basically get a real feel for construction work, and they're getting in working condition. Because we found that a lot of the employees that hire these guys are females. They're working an average of 50 to 66 hours a week. So that's kind of an advantage because they're not just going from 0 to 60 hours a week. They are kind of working outdoors on a 4-hour basis. Our classroom is a 4-week classroom. Next slide. And it's a 4-week classroom where we have them training 4 hours a day for a total of 80 hours prior to bringing the employer to the table. We also went out and we built relationships with U.S. Department of Labor Office of Apprenticeships. We also built a partnership with the Office of Contract Compliance Program. We built a relationship with the Texas Workforce Commission as well as the Workforce Solution. And of course, the main player in this is the construction employers. And so we put all of these people in one room to try to explain, to each other what part they play in the role of this process. And so far, everybody has been, real positive about the outcome so far. So far, we've had 7 people into the program, and we got 7 people working. So we got 100% placement rate. And one guy, he got hired on the 1st of December. He's already in class to be a supervisor. So we've got a lot of opportunities from what the employers are talking about. There's a lot of opportunities out there for the construction field, and we want to make sure that we keep a dialogue with them, as well as if it's some new incentives on the table to take to them, we want to make sure that they know, because right now we are also working on an opportunity to do OJTs in the process with the process of doing apprenticeships with these employees. We just got information that will allow us to share with the employees that it is some OJT opportunities out there for some of you HVRP programs. That's something that I know our HVRP has to bring to the table is OJTs as well as the apprenticeship. So by just reaching out and forming one way to get veterans hired through the apprenticeship program, now we have an opportunity to add OJTs. So it doesn't get any better than that. Next. And so, like I was saying, we've graduated 2 classes. We're currently in the middle of our 3rd class. We want to do a class a month. They are not the biggest classes. In the future, we'll probably talk about maybe a cap on the limit of people we'll try and do within a month's time. But right now, everything is still in the developmental phase as far as some of the things that we want to be able to add to. we found out that a lot of these veterans also need a mentorship piece put into the middle of this process to kind of help guide them along some lines of character building and things like that, attitude. We also found out that a lot of these guys had some skills, analytical skills, but were very limited when it came to building things. And so that was a challenge that we want to also work on, is getting guys to process how to build things from scratch and, improving their analytical skills and their abstract reasoning. So as we move forward, we will continue to take a look and evaluate, reevaluate, and go back and kind of curtail the program to fit the needs for the current class. We don't really want to put a redundant class out there. We want each class to have its own kind of life and kind of take its own shape. We try to have them do different type of on-hand projects. We want to do some drywalling sometime in the future, just to keep a mixture, because employers also want a diversity of people into their workforce. So we don't want to just continue to put one particular skill set out there and when we have an opportunity to put more than one. Next. And that's about all I have to offer at this time. I appreciate the opportunity to speak to you all, and I'll pass this back over to the speaker.
So thank you, Prentice. Appreciate the insights and the efforts that you put into trying to initiate the development of an integrated apprenticeship within your agency and your HVRP. Let's see if we can, Cindy, do we have any questions that have come in the chat box today?
We have a couple of folks who are asking similar questions, really around how Prentice and Ruth were able to get employers on board. Was it employers coming to you, or you going to them? You touched on it a little bit, but that seems to be a challenge that folks are having. So if you could expand at all on how you got the employers engaged in the process, that would be really helpful.
Okay. Sometimes when you go to them, it's hard. They're kind of not really paid attention or focused. But at the stand down is where I make a really good connection with employers, because their purpose is to hire veterans, and the person that you're going to be speaking to is most likely the HR or the person who is going to be doing the hiring. So for me, I found the stand down is a great opportunity to get your business cards, and when you have other employers, and just introduce yourself, tell them about your program. A lot of them will, you have a captive audience. You can go through the line and get their business cards, and then the next day follow up with them. Follow-up is key, not just making the contact, but following up with them, checking to see what type, ask the question, what type of employer are you looking for? A lot of them, they'll give you what they're looking for, someone who's going to come to work every day, someone who has the skills. If that's the case, then you know what types of veterans to refer. For us here in Hawaii, we haven't gotten the really young veterans, such as those 20, 30-year-olds, not too many of them. Most of the veterans we have are in their 40s, 50s, and 60s. So by us trying to reconnect and get these who may be on the street for a number of years, get them back to a routine, get them into working to getting the training. And like we said, you basically have to keep talking about it and make use of your stand-downs, because at every stand-down they have employers that are looking for veterans to hire. So that's what I found was the best. I kind of was thinking about it, and I thought, you know what, this is a great opportunity because they're here for the same reason. They're much more susceptible. So you make the contact, leave your business card, get their business card. If they don't, ask them for their email, their contact information, and then touch base with them. Ask them, come up with questions. What type of employer, what kind of employer are you looking for? How soon do you see you'll be needing an employer that has this certain skill? If you notice that your veterans that are coming in have a certain skill, I think that is one of the main things. And not everyone is used to approaching, but I think when you go when it's a stand-down kind of atmosphere, everyone is more approachable because they're there for the same reason again, and we're all here to get our veterans hired. So you just keep in mind that the people you're talking to are like the people who's going to hire. On our stand-downs that we've gone to, there are many that I've even gone to job fairs, and I kind of went through, and when I take my veterans to go down, we go together. So I put it out there. So sometimes I have a group of 5, sometimes I have a group of 2, and we'll go to the job fairs together, and it'll also help me spot check how are they doing, our veterans, because we go in there, and I always let them know I'm here. So while you're going to visit the veterans, I'll be checking out other veterans, and I'll see and check on what my veteran is doing. Is he filling out applications? Is he talking to employers? And if he's sitting there not doing, pretty much kind of not engaged or not filling out an application, then I would approach him and say, well, what have we done today? Review, and then I would go with them. I try to give them the head start to let them go and apply and then look at different veterans. And we go over the list of people before going to the job fair as to who we feel is going to be the best fit for us. Then that way, when he goes down the line, he sees familiar employer's name and is able to approach them and with some knowledge as to what they're looking for. And he knows that, or she knows that this is the case. As far as our apprenticeship program, a good example, and also look around your community. What's popular? What is in need? Like right now we're in the holiday season. A lot of people are looking for salespeople to work at the department stores. Here in Hawaii, it's a time where people from the mainland come. People from all over come here for their holiday. So the hotels are always looking for employees. So our veterans will get a good chance because they're looking for more people to hire. In our apprenticeship program, a good example of the construction industry is 2 years ago, the laborers apprenticeship program used to do 2 classes a year. Ever since then, it was 6 classes, and this year we've gone to 8 classes. They were trying to fit in 9 classes, but they're going to wait till next month, which is 2016. So you can see the need is great. So keeping up with current events as to what area of work is looking for workers, keeping your ears, listening to the radio. Sometimes I'm driving, and I hear that, this company is looking for workers. I immediately will jot it down, and then I can figure out who of my veteran is able to. And we've had some of those type of placements where they're just there at the right time. So I always let our veterans know when I call, we have to be ready, and you have to go down. Sometimes you only get an hour's notice that they have this call for workers, and they'll hire you on the spot. So timing is everything, but also follow through with
Good practical suggestions, Ruth, for really on the ground things that you're doing there on Oahu. Apprentice, how have you connected with some of your construction employers?
Well, over the years, we've had a relationship with most of ours, and it was just a time to improve on our relationship or maximize it, rather, put it that way. We were sending people out from time to time, and I was noticing that every time they would call, they needed quite a few number of people, mainly laborers, CDL drivers, and heavy equipment operators. And so my thing is that, we couldn't find enough veterans or non-veterans to fill these positions. And so it became to where, well, wait, why don't we just try and put something out there to assist that need, to kind of, you know, put a training, some type of training mechanism in place to help give these construction companies the skilled labor, people that they were reaching out and just never could fill all the positions. So that started a dialogue with the certain employers to try and see if we brought some to the table, and if they brought some to the table, what would the outcome be? And basically, they had a high turnover ratio, and they just couldn't keep people, you know, on these jobs long enough, and it was affecting their bottom line. So what we did was, you know, met with them to see how, if we sent them somebody, you know, shovel ready or ready to step into these positions, would they reach out and hire them? So that's basically how we came up with a way to get our apprenticeship program off the ground and running. It was the employers were having a high turnover ratio, and we were trying to put something out there that would prevent that from happening moving forward. And so far, you know, things are working out, and we want to, again, continue to bring things to the table to further keep them engaged in this process, benefit-wise, as far as, like I say, classroom training, which will subsidize 50% of incoming trainees. So that'll be something that we want to present next. And just continue, as we get the information, pass it on to them, and just to continue to build a relationship to where we can almost take on some smaller contracts in the future for some of these employers, which will also assure us to have a pipeline from apprenticeship to, from training to apprenticeship to full-time employment.
John, we have, I think we have time for one more question. This is sort of a two-parter. The first part of it is, who is actually doing the classroom training? Is it HVRP paid staff or someone else? And related to that is the funding question of who is funding the classroom training, how are HVRP funds being used, and are they being leveraged with funds from other sources?
Well, in our case, it's being leveraged, and we do have a trainer that's not, he's kind of contracted. He has his own construction company. He comes with 30 years of experience, and he already has some shovel-ready projects out there. So he's been a big plus to this whole equation. We brought him to the meeting, some of the meetings that we had with the employers, to make sure that they knew that the person that would train these veterans would be somebody qualified to do it. So they felt good about that once they met and talked with our instructor, which made this whole process a whole lot smoother. And we're reaching out to try and find other funding sources. Again, one suggestion was that the school take on small contracts to kind of bring in income to, you know, further pay for some things that we need moving forward.
As far as Power Up is concerned, the training class is given by Hawaii Labor's apprenticeship program director. They have it. That's their facility. And as far as funding, Power Up does provide the work outfits, the steel-toe shoes, tools if they need to, in order to, when they get out of the program, they have. We also pay half of their union due, and that's in order for them to get placed, and then they are then responsible to pay the other half. So we don't do all, because we want them to be engaged and committed to fulfilling this process.
Well, thanks, everybody. That was a really good overview of some programs, and I think we kind of got down and looked at some serious issues. Like Cindy said, this webinar will be posted in a week or so. So if you want to come back and take a second look or pass it along to your colleagues, that will be great. And I think if anyone wants to say some final words, now would be the time. We've got like a minute or so left.
As far as thank you for the time and opportunity for Power Up and the strategists in coming to present new ways, new ideas, and making ourselves available to assist our veterans. Thank you.
Okay, and I want to thank the NVTAC also for allowing us to share this information. Hopefully we were able to enlighten or help some other program out there that you know was looking for ways to bring on or collaborate in doing an apprenticeship program. So I'd like to say thanks, and you know, we appreciate the opportunity to touch on what we're doing in Houston.
And thank you, Prentice and Ruth, for joining the webinar today. And to everybody, all our participants, please give thought around how you connect with apprenticeships and let us know your successes and challenges. Ian, Cindy, and I are always looking to hear from you about how you're doing and want to find ways to support your efforts. So thank you, Cindy, for pulling the strings behind the curtain, and we appreciate that very much.
Thank you all, and please look for the survey coming later this afternoon and spend a few minutes just to give us your feedback so we can make sure that these are a valuable use of your time.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.
I gotta go get me something to eat. That's actually out there on the south. Right. Yeah. They should be saying okay. Well, I mean, if you gonna take them, I mean, you gotta, it's online. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Right. I'll go ahead on and pay for them so we can go ahead on and get that going. I'll pay for them tomorrow, so we won't, you won't get that in the class. I'm gonna figure it out. Okay. For the test. I need to take